Okay, guys, this is going to be my review of Steven Spielberg's war epic Saving Private Ryan. And I think Spielberg in this film makes you feel like you're in the action. Makes you feel like you're right next to, Tom Hanks and Matt Damon this whole time and in the war battle. And it just feels so realistic. It feels like this is almost like a documentary. Just the way that it's shot with, like, yes, it's somewhat shaky cam, but that makes it point. It almost looks like they just brought like this was actually filmed in 1944, and I think that was such a visceral choice. And I think like there was no real music, no real score, no real soundtrack. It was just delivering a story. And because it never felt like a lot, it never had a lot of quality some a lot of films have, like the score, like a soundtrack. No, it makes you feel right in there. Where they don't really do a lot of wide shots. I mean, they've done some like exterior uh, location shots, but for the most part, you're always next to the characters. It feels like you're just like another character in the fold. You know what I mean? And I love these just great, realistic, grounded sequences. Blood and gore, and you see the suspense of the horror on their faces, as well as the shots and the seeing people on both sides die left and right on top of and I think when you kind of hear the synopsis of a group of a group of soldiers during World War II are going in to save the last brother of a group of I think five brothers, whom four of which are dead. It seems weird because you're putting the risk of all these soldiers just for one soldier to bring him back home. And they explore that. They explore this idea of, you know, why are we putting ourselves at risk for just one person? Why could three people die at the cost of one? And I think they love that I love that they explored that, and I also love that their journey, that kind of adventure aspect, because it is like a trotting through the war, trotting through the bases, searching for Ryan. And I think what's interesting is there's still, even though he can still Spielberg can still give a sense of I just think what's crazy is that so many directors, when you could go into a film not knowing who the director is, watch the film and realize that's a Nolan film, or that's a Russo brothers film, or something like that. But with Steven Spielberg, I just feel like all of that goes out the window, because this is nothing like Ready Player One, or like Jurassic Park, or like, I mean, Indiana Jones, and all these great Steven Spielberg films. I had watched part of Minority Report, and that's so different than this film, and E.T. and Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones, and it just, he can change gears to different types of films and different genres of films that quickly. And I think once again he does that. He does it magnificently. But those action sequences, they really get you to feel right in the battle, right in the midst of the dangers of war. And and I think because it's filmed in, again, almost like a documentary style way, they don't glance over a lot of stuff some people, some films glance over. They don't glance over the fact that they have to prepare. They don't glance over the fact that some soldiers don't have the courage to fight. And I think because this film feels just so real, when people die, you genuinely feel this like high emotion and high stakes, even though you don't know them that much on a character level. And I love, like, early in the film, one of the characters says that he, avoids his mother, and then as he's dying, he says, "Mommy, I want to go home." And it's just like those sad kind of things. And again, Tom Hanks gives a great performance in this film, like always. And his death, promising that. And I love this idea of, like, James Ryan almost feels like that guilt that you see as an older man of, this guy gave his life up for me. I have to make something good of my life, something better of my life. I can't just be a normal person, or just normal average Joe who does whatever he wants, because he wants his sacrifice. He wants the Colonel's sacrifice to be meaningful, and I think that was very important. I think the opening sequence again was also great. Seeing the great visceral danger of war, where again people are getting killed and medics are struggling to help as the battle. And I love it in the opening sequence. You don't really see the Nazis. It's just more of like that shots of where it's like from the top, there's your enemy, and then there you're below, and whether you get shot. It's like that hidden enemy type aspect of, the raid, and they win, and they, succeed, but at what cost? And, you see these different personalities that make up the team that are all unique. And I just really had a good time with this film. I think it is sad, it is emotional, and I think it is something that I enjoyed, and I think, I think it was actually pretty cool. I think it was kind of cool to have this realistic kind of interpretation of war. And I think because like because I feel like what kind of makes this film work is that in a unique sense is where it doesn't feel like a film. See, again, I made the comparison to a documentary, not a documentary, but like a found footage film, because documentary is different, but like a found footage film, you know what I mean? Or yeah, like something like that, where like you could, other than recognizable actors like Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, you could have thought this was a, just a found footage, but yet with the quality of a film, and with great acting and great storytelling, and to give credit to, even like, with me saying this could be a found footage film, besides a few bombs look a little bit fake, but me saying that it's a found footage, it almost feels like a World War II found footage film that got edited together. What adds to that, what complements that, is the acting. Because if the acting looked fake, then obviously it wouldn't seem real. And I think what sells the realness is the violence, is the gore, is some of that quippy dialogue that you would hear from young, rebels from the 40s, and on top of, what colonels act like, and genuine war methods. I mean, I don't know war methods, but, what they end up doing in this film seems logical, on top of that not globe-trotting, but that kind of adventure, because there still is, yes, it's a war film, but I think what Steven Spielberg still gets to manage in this film is he still gets that sense of adventure. Because that kind of the middle, where it's like at the beginning, kind of that war scene, and towards the end, you have that war scene. But the middle is kind of like, our group's adventure toward finding James Ryan, who was almost like the MacGuffin of the story. And it was just great. I really enjoyed this film, and I think it is a film I look back on with positive thoughts. I thought it was very visceral and entertaining, and another win from Steven Spielberg. Stay tuned for our videos coming at you.